Hey, I'm Grant. Welcome to Digression Bar 24. I'm joined by...
Andrew. I wasn't here last time.
Last time I was in a hurry, like this week. It always seems like... Because I have, like, days. All my days are assigned to things.
Yeah.
Like, the best weeks, are when I start on the podcast on Monday when it comes on Friday, which is already, like, screwing me. And it's Tuesday, and it comes out on Friday, so that's already double. But then it's like, normally Tuesday would be when I generally would try to have, like, a day for, like, just, like, hanging out and gaming. Because normally I have, like, the podcast converting and stuff and preparing. So that's gone. But then Wednesday is also D&D, and I'm always, like, on my calendar, D&D lasts from 6:30 to 9:30, but realistically, I know it's, like, more like 5:30 set up to, like, 11. So nothing gets done that day. Then Thursday is basically entirely editing the podcast because I have to get it out, and that's important that I like try as best as I can to like stick to the schedule. And then it's like Saturday, or I don't skip a day. Friday. Friday is usually I do something either with like you or with Jamie, or I don't even know. Finish editing the podcast. So I didn't do it that day. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in there, I think on Mondays now I'm working on my website, and then I'm trying to work in at least an hour, like 1 to 3 hours a week to like practice like the drawing. And it's just like every week I'm like, it's Wednesday, D&D, awesome. I'm going to do so much before next session. And then all of a sudden it's like, God damn it, it's Tuesday again. I'm like, God damn it. I was going to plan so much. And then suddenly it's the day before and I have no time. It's 11 p.m. Tuesday night. It's like, well, damn it. So that's my rant. We had a whole like gaming discussion before this podcast, and I'm already like heated and have things to say. Not specifically about that, but I'm just already like rolling.
You rolling?
I'm rolling. Snowballing.
Snowballing?
That's one of the biggest things I need
Tilting on a snow... never mind.
You saying I'm tilting?
You tilting...
Do you tilt?
As a snowball. Yes, I tilt.
You tilt?
Sometimes, yeah.
Are you talking about pinball or like the gaming term?
Gaming term.
Okay. Because tilting means like when you get really angry. I don't know specifically what it means, but I always envision it like it's where you tilt, where you're so angry, you get worse.
So like you do bad.
Yeah.
And because you're doing bad, you get angry. But the angrier you get, the worse you perform. And then it's just a perpetual cycle of getting angrier and worse.
I only ever used it or heard it used in Dota. And even then, it's only ever as like a, I guess, derogatory insult. It's never like, oh, I'm tilting right now, I need to stop. It's always, oh, this dude's tilting. Like, you're trying to, like, set them off.
Oh, okay.
I don't usually do this, but I hear it a lot. I'm usually good when I play Dota. But I'm like, nice. But there's definitely, I feel like that's how it's used. But I love the term tilting, because it just makes sense. It just makes sense. No? What are you even up to?
Whenever I hear it, I think of the skull in Halo.
Oh, the tilt skull?
Yeah. Where it makes everything worse at what it's bad at and way better at what it's good at.
Mm-hmm. I wish more games have that. Like, I feel like a lot of games attempt it, but they never go far enough.
Nier has something interesting.
So you've started that? Because like that was my big debate. Yeah. Like, should I play Prey and finish it, or do Nier? Because I know I'm going to really like Nier.
Yeah. You should download it at least.
I think I have.
Okay. Well, I mean, because you can.
Yes. Well, that's why it just popped. The thing is, I knew I was probably going to like it, and I just didn't get around it. And then I forgot, like, we were linked. I just saw it appear in my downloads one day. Like, I think it just downloaded by default.
Oh, okay.
So it's just, I just had the game one day. It's like, well, now it's really tempting not to go play this.
Yeah.
So that stuff. But I had to edit a podcast and work on my website.
It's really good. It feels like Final Fantasy and Dark Souls conceived a child. And that's
high praise.
What it is. I mean, I feel like it's not as good in both directions at once, but it's decent at the same time. But they're like a lot of things like, oh, you can, instead of like leveling, like purchasing skills, you find chips that you plug in, quote unquote, plug into yourself to give you better attributes. And one of them, I don't remember the name of the chip, but what it does, like its attribute is like you and enemies do like 200% more damage.
I would love that.
And like you can get higher because like throughout the game you get chips that are higher and higher level, or you can also fuse lower chips to become higher level chips. So it's like essentially you can do is like everyone does like 400% more damage.
I would love that. I always do that whenever I can in games. More damage even if I take it. I'm very aggressive like that when I play those games. So What have you been up to? You weren't on the last podcast. What do you have to talk about?
What do I have to talk about special?
Special.
I don't know. It's been a lot of helping the parents doing the things they can't do anymore.
Okay. Can't blame you.
Been a lot of time.
Okay.
It's that, and then nothing.
I guess like all I've been up to is I've been doing that website stuff still, and it always feels like I put so much time into it, and then I look back and it's like, what did I do today? It's like I made a login form for my website, and it works. That's cool. But it's also like one little page with only a little bit of text. It's not very impressive, even though it's a very essential thing to have on the site. So that's what I'm going through. Although Jamie and I went out of town this last weekend. We had a friend who was getting married over in Lincoln. So that was super cool. Really nice wedding. Ellen.
Oh, Ellen?
Yeah. Ellen. Not Ellie. Not my sister.
No, I know.
Okay.
Ellen Parr? What's her last name?
I can tell you off podcast.
Oh,
But yeah,
sorry.
you know her family. No, it's fine. Although I didn't want to give the impression that Ellie was married. That would be surprising news. Like, no.
Yeah. Why is she getting married in Lincoln when she's in California?
Yeah, that'd be confusing. She came back just for that, and she's leaving again. Nah. But it's been fun. And I've been super busy at work. I feel like I have too many things I like to do, and not enough time to do them. But there's so many things I want to do. They're like, I want to do this, this, and this. Like I said, I picked up like that drawing practice. That's been going okay. I drew a bunny. It's on the fridge.
Well, so you're drawing on paper and drawing for the computer.
Yes.
You're doing both.
I'm trying
Not
to do
at the same time.
I'm trying to do both somewhat in tandem. More emphasis on the doing it with like pen and paper right now because I feel like that's the essence of it. But what I want to do is also build more towards doing like, I believe it's called digital painting or like illustration, because I want to be able to do stuff like D&D. Like here's the character art thing, or like here's a map we could use for a design. I feel like that's one easier than doing like a live portrait of a person. That sounds really difficult. But I feel like there's some other stuff I could get kind of started here, and that's something I could apply and would be valuable, you know? Like do my own like concept art, even for like just my website. It's like, oh, I kind of want to do a design like this, sketch it out, and then redo it in Photoshop or what have you. So, and I'm trying to put time in, but it's also like I have very limited time when I am effective. So it's like I could do it at like midnight, but that's not very good.
No.
That's like prey time, like that when I'm playing that, where it's like I don't really pay much attention. But it's been fun. I learned a lot because like Jamie took a bunch of classes when she was younger, like in elementary and middle school. So she's been critiquing me. So.
I remember having art lessons too. Those were fun. Yeah. Like what is she? I want to know, what type of critiques does she give you?
She asked me what I knew, and I said literally nothing. And I don't think she fully grasped that. She's like, "What's with your shading technique? Don't you know how to do this?" It's like I know literally nothing. Like everything I've been sketching is like the outlines of stuff. So I've been doing like stuff like that. Like a lot of shading is something I'm having trouble with, or like showing like shapes. Like for example, if I had to draw, say, imagine a cube,
yes.
Except like a Rubik's cube, but imagine like the corners are like rounded. So like not a hard corner where you would draw like a line down.
Yeah.
But imagine it's like rounded, so it's all smooth, but you wanted to still show the shape. I have no idea. I'm not good at that. And I feel like that makes it difficult to move from like, basically like I said, drawing like an outline to drawing like depth. So that's what I've been.
I haven't done that in a long time. Wait. So which parts are rounded? Like are all edges rounded?
Mainly just if you have a cube that's like sitting like this, it would be the ones around this side, not the top.
Okay.
So I guess I'm saying like if you were to draw a cylinder. Like,
right.
Draw a cylinder with you're looking at head on.
And then you cut sections off. I
know I'm saying if like it's different example. If you had a cylinder,
okay,
and you're looking at head on, draw it in such a way where it is clearly a cylinder and not a rectangle. Because if you just took a cross section,
okay,
right?
Okay.
But then there's ways to do that. I don't know how to do it. Like ideally, yes, you could also like tilt it so you could see the top, but it's just an example.
Okay.
So that's what I've been trying to like tackle. But really, it also is just like I'm just starting, so it's just kind of like draw stuff, and then move into like, okay, now I'm going to tackle this thing.
How do you shade? Do you actually have like shading tools?
Well, when I drew that first one, I just had literally a mechanical pencil. Figured out that doesn't work that well. So I got
like you like break some of the lead and just like finger.
You don't really have much. No, I just kind of like wing it. Just kind of wing it and then like smeared it. But I got an actual set of like decent pencils, like just like 2 that are like different graphites. And then they have like 3 different softnesses of erasers for that as well. And what Jamie said is just kind of like eyeball it and go like do, and then you'll smear it a little bit, go back over it again. Just try to be very continuous.
There are other things they have for shading where it's like essentially like rolled up pieces of newspaper, but it's like shaped also kind of like a pencil. When you kind of go in and like use that to smear it. I don't know what they're called. Shaders, maybe.
Well, I know there's one thing that came in that set. It's like a putty eraser.
Yeah,
it was stuff like that, and I haven't really looked at it too much.
Those are cool because like you can like you dab.
Yeah,
those.
So I haven't really gotten into it that much, but it's something that's it's I'm very curious about, but it's going to take a while. But then, like I said, it's like I got to fit it in with everything else. So I'm trying to say like at least every Monday, I'm thinking I'd like to do an hour of just something. Ideally, I'd like to get to the point where it's like 1 hour every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I don't think I'm at that point yet. Especially like the issue is mainly also is I have a 2-week cycle where podcast week is busy week, where it's all podcast and other stuff. And then other week it's fun project week, like website and drawing and what have you. But yeah, I want to be able to sketch stuff out in person just because like that seems like it'd be a cool skill to have. And that's like the innate skill. And then take that and go to like more of the digital illustration stuff. Because I feel like that's where it'd be really fun. Like I was just talking to like Walker about like stuff for D&D tomorrow, and we're talking about like swords and stuff. And it'd be really nice just to say like,
what do you mean swords and stuff?
He wants to move from being a single weapon fighter to a 2-weapon fighter.
So he wants to dual wield.
Yes, but there's just a thing
Well, I mean, question: is it dual wield or switching between 2 weapons?
Dual wield.
Okay.
So, and we're just lamenting things like, for example, like then his character art that he has doesn't match anymore. Or even just the fact that I was talking about different ideas I have for the sword he has. It'd be nice if I could say, like, it looks like this. This is my idea. Even if it's just a simple sketch, you could get it if you could see it. And I feel like that'd be really valuable.
Because I think I haven't actually looked into it, but he said something about figuring out, like, custom things you could put in to make your own characters.
Well, what he linked was, I guess someone took all the sprites from one of the Game Boy Advance or all the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem games.
Right. And
made a character generator. And it looks super good, actually. That was actually impressive. So if you ever want to make anything like that, it's neat. And it's not ridiculous, but you can be like, oh, well, I want him to be wearing a cloak, and I want it to be blue, and he's Dragonborn. It's something. And all the art styles are consistent with each other. I was talking, like, if we had ever do, like, a one-off campaign that's just, like, 3 sessions long, it'd be fun to do the entire campaign in that art style. So it's kind of cool to look at something. Or like I said, like, with him, like, in theory, you could do something like, oh, I want to go from one, like, a sword to 2 swords. You could just change the setting. It was kind of a cool little thing.
Does the sword he use... No, it's just a long sword, right?
Yes.
His spooky skin.
Made from his, like, own flesh kind of thing, yes. Yeah. So I was doing ideas about how it could evolve. Because, like, I like weapons that kind of go with you and evolve, or just, like, items where you are not just saying... Like, I don't, as a DM, don't want to be like, hey, here's this item. This is how you use it. This is your thing now. But instead, I would want to be like, it kind of grows to fit your character, as well as you gain other items. And through that, you come up with your own niches. Instead of just being like, Lyle, Cole's character, I want you to be fast. Here's your fast boots. And now you're the fast guy. I don't want to be like that. I want him to be like, well, if I take, I don't know, the fast boots with this rapier that does more damage when I'm fast or something. Like, keep finding your own combos. I want stuff like that.
Did those boots make him faster? I thought it just made it so, like, he could, like, fly, like, kind of elevate and then move upward.
That was just an example. I think he has boots with, like, springing and jumping or something is what he actually has. So it hasn't come up too much.
He's already got ridiculous speed. So.
Yes. Which is actually, can I say, that's kind of annoying as a DM. Yeah. When he's that fast. Just because, like, sometimes, like, I want enemies to be able to get away. Or like,
as a player, though, I can tell you that's really annoying.
Well, I know it's annoying, but there's some like, that's a situation that should be possible.
Yeah.
If they decide to run away, but if it's in the moment, there's basically nothing that can break Lyle's speed. Because Lyle's speed's, if he wants to, is absolutely ridiculous. And the thing is, I can do it, and there's ways that would be reasonable, but then I have to have these giant maps so that Lyle can chase someone down.
Yeah.
And that's what gets difficult. And then it also gets annoying because, like, guess what? Sometimes, yeah, you can chase him down, but maybe he turns the corner and then he's got 3 other bad guys. And now, guess what? Lyle's fucking 1,000 feet over there away from the party and he's getting stabbed. And I don't want that either.
I can imagine just like me, when I walked out, got shot in the back with a bunch of crossbows all at once.
Yeah. Or when you guys left, you split the party and left Morn locked in a room.
That was his idea, by the way. That was not my idea. That was his idea.
Your idea was to go to bed.
Well, because it was late. And
I'm talking about the short rest you guys took.
Yeah.
It was just a great moment.
I didn't think there was any reason to be suspicious of anything.
Yeah. It's in character.
I know.
You played the character. It was a great moment. I'm gonna remember that. We had a player almost lose his character a while back because the party split.
Back, you mean 2 sessions ago?
Yeah, 2 sessions ago because the party split and 3 of them went to go hang out with a kid and a horse in a cave
and a dude
and a bad guy, and the other dude basically fought the boss by himself, and he rolled some really lucky rolls.
So that was a boss.
Yeah, but it's like a level 2 dungeon.
Oh,
so it's not terrible, but alone, that guy has he has a glaive that he can make 2 attacks with, and it's serious. And a lot of his stuff is like binding and like getting you stuck and not be able to move.
Okay, my question is, why did that trigger? Why did that trigger for him while we were all away?
There's a reason. I'm not gonna say. Okay. You ask Morn what he thinks. Why?
Well, I don't know if it's like, oh, you're just like, I just sound like, I'm gonna spring this now, or what?
No, I always usually have reasons for it. Like, there's a reason why that would have happened. Like, it was triggered by someone, and would have made that decision to like do the thing at that point.
Okay.
So, basically, the boss did it.
Well, right.
Yeah.
But
it's not just like, it would be dramatic if this happened. But it was just more of like, well, this is the eventuality of this situation, so. Although I will say I felt bad because like I had to simulate Morn Walker's character's battle in real time, but then that made you guys just have to like awkwardly walk down a hallway 6 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
Because it mattered, because I thought for sure you're going to turn around at some point, and then it was going to be relevant to how many squares you had to run back. Kind of like the escape from that one flooding dungeon.
Yeah. And
then, yeah, it wasn't relevant at all. But so I'm sure for you, it's like clearly something's going on, but it's kind of boring for us right now.
Well, yeah, because I thought it was just him having a conversation.
It was at first.
Well, right, like, oh, I'm just going to talk to you here. I was like, yeah, it's like, that's interesting. And then you're still like, here, let's talk about this other things. And we're just like, okay, you guys continue. And then you were also like, yeah, I'm just going to have interesting things to talk to you about. It's like, okay, so what do you figure out? No, that's not what I mean.
So I don't mean to be too D&D centric for this podcast because I get always excited about it to talk. But I do want to do next time Walker's in town, if we can get like Walker and Cole together and just go through all our D&D history and just like do that as a podcast. And we want to get like Alex in over like Discord when he comes up in that conversation, just so I could have it there. Like, this is the full history as much as we remember it. And then that way, whenever we talk about like D&D, I can just be like, here's a link that explains what this is. We don't have to like.
Are we going to be ignoring Polkite?
No. Okay. Very beginning. First one you rolled.
Oh, god damn it.
Thing is,
that's not the first one I rolled. That is my very first roll.
That's great.
Was the one.
It foretold the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like that'd be really fun. Because like I said, I always get excited. Like, I'm going to do so much D&D. It's going to be great. And then it's Wednesday again. It's like, god damn it. But we're going to have this session tomorrow. I'm hoping to have one where it really opens it up. Because the thing is, like, I always wanted this to be open. I didn't want you guys to just be doing the module we're doing right now. Like, you could go back to Polkite if you wanted. There was story threads there. There's also story threads that you'll be getting this session and stuff. Or even like with Cult of the Dragon. That's not exactly part of the module, but still kind of involved. There's still stuff you could go pursue. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to do this story. So I'm trying to do stuff like that. Yeah. But then it kind of got sideswiped by the fact that we switched modules and you guys kind of moved locations, and I'm trying to...
Why did we decide to change modules right away?
Because we finished the other one.
Oh.
That's okay. It for Lost Mines of Phandelver.
So we just missed a lot of shit.
No, you did everything. You did literally everything in that module.
So we didn't surprise you?
No. It was surprisingly how convenient it was to actually get you guys to do all the side quests.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, technically, there's nothing stopping you from... You could just find the boss and go straight there from level 1. This is all side stuff specific to D&D. But I was surprised. Actually, it worked out very naturally that you guys made a nice tour. Like, okay, you went to deal with the Banshee. You met the Necromancer. You met the psychic guy underneath the manor. I forget his name. Nargoth or something, whatever. He's a type of creature who was surprisingly turned out to be way more than I expected him to be. So I'm sure we'll hear from him again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can picture his little token, but I can't.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to say.
No, Lost Mines of Fandelver. It's whatever. But that's not his name. It's just his creature. So,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. But yeah, it also, like, I'm not kind of was glad to get out of Phandalin, and I kind of hope. I almost want you guys to, like, let loose some ties from there, just because you've definitely kind of like outgrown the town, and I feel like the more you spend around there, the more dangerous it is for the people who live there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because, like, yeah, that's, yeah. But I definitely it was feeling very long in the tooth for me, because there's a lot of stuff where it's like, you're encountering this person for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, there's one dude who was not meant to be, but could potentially be a huge personality in the town, kind of like Toblerone. But you guys just never talked to him. He was up in the north. He's like this old veteran, and he's part of the, like, Order of the Blue Fist or whatever. And it's not a big deal, but then when you do go meet him, it's like, here's his bio. It's like, well, none of this is relevant anymore because you've done all this stuff. He's not going to talk about the Banshee. He's not going to talk about the Necromancer. He's going to obviously recognize you because you've done so much.
Speaking of, we still don't know what the fuck the Necromancer's up to.
I know what the Necromancer's up to.
I said you are God in the scenario, so you should know everything. Mm-hmm. Unless it's character stuff that you have a question about.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, I don't know. Fucking. I don't know. And I feel bad because, like, I like both characters. I like Anthros and I like Karnath. Mm-hmm. But
Anthros being your really old character, like your first character, and Karnath being your new warlock.
Yeah, I don't know.
D&D does have this problem where the biggest issue is you can never play enough. You know, it's like fully see everything through. So I feel like we always end up cramming more than we can do in one game. You know, it's like everyone wants to play like a ton of characters because, like, ideally it would be fun to play one character of every class. Mm-hmm. But then think how many, like, games of D&D you would need to do that. Like, even if you did just a 1 session, 4-hour one shot, how many times you'd have to go through that to, like, play all the classes you want to play.
Well, and just think of it, like, the more you play with the character as well, the more it's terrible if you die. Mm-hmm. Because, like, it's just like you're level 16. That's like years of progress, and all of a sudden dead. It's like,
well, that's because you guys just need to get, like, over the hump where you have, like, a resurrection.
I guess.
And it would be the point where it's not easy. Like, yeah, we need to, like, sell our manor to pay for this, but it would give you, like, the one redo. So
do over.
Yeah.
Logan.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, it's also hard. Like, what if you get, like, kind of like a rock and a hard place kind of suggestion? Like, they have a spell called Resurrect, I think it is.
Okay.
No, Reincarnate, where you get to come back, but you don't keep your body. So you have to re-roll what race you are. And that can be very much change your character. Or it could be a great development.
Well, what about all of your other skills and shit, though?
You keep them.
And, like, stats?
You change your well, you change, like, the bonuses. Because you could be, like, a gnome archer, and you're still an archer, but you might come back as a barbarian. Not a barbarian, but, like, a Goliath. And now all of a sudden you have a really low dexterity or something. And you're still that class,
and,
but
like,
it's
what
like,
about, like, your intelligence and shit?
Yeah, you reroll your character, basically. Like, you make all the same choices, and you're the same class, unless you couldn't possibly be that. But yeah, like, that's a hard thing. Because think, like, Anthros is like a Dragonborn man. Yeah. It'd be really weird if he came back as, like, just a dude. He's just a human.
I don't know. Like, to me, that wouldn't seem terribly weird. I think it would be weirder if, like, he came back as
a gnome.
A gnome.
Yeah.
Probably be the weirdest one.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't bad. It depends on the character. And some characters, like, it can work out to be really amazing and really a big character moment. In other ways, it can be like, well, this kind of killed my vision for this character was. Yeah. And probably, honestly, what this character would do is he would just retire. Because at this point, he would take it very badly or something. Yeah. But you don't want that because you still want to play the character. So.
Or, like, commit suicide or something. I don't know.
It's not great. It depends.
It's like, I just rather stay dead.
I heard a great story where someone had that. They played, like, a high elf and they got reincarnated as a drow. And they're like, they really don't like each other. So yeah, it was just like this level where it's just like upended their world. Like this is, yeah, it was neat. It's
When
neat.
you get reincarnated, are like, my question, what's the process there? Is it like you all of a sudden have a new body, same age and everything?
I think you have to roll for age or something. But the idea is like it goes and gets your soul, but it makes a new body.
Of a random...
random body.
So it's not like you're possessing a pre-existing body.
I don't think so, no.
It's not like you're just shat out of like someone. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I don't know. It's a neat idea. It's one of the things where it's a dangerous thing to put out there, or it could be the best thing ever if you really do want to keep playing your character. And you're like, yes, I'll take that. But I don't know. That's the thing is we just haven't gotten over the hump where you would resurrect each other yet. And I feel like that's somewhat we're getting there finally. But I don't know yet. Because I also didn't want to give you like a free life. Like here's a scroll that's just a free resurrect. Because then that's just kind of like, and we get one freebie who wants to just go in and do something stupid. I have so many things. The thing is, like, again, like it's just hard because I feel like I don't have enough experience with D&D, even though we've played it for years. Just because like it's just never come up. Like we've played it for like 6 years, and then what was it? The last session or so we played was the first time we ever did Zone of Truth. It's the first time it ever came up.
I wanted to do it before. I think in 4th edition, but everyone's like, "I'm going to set up like this thing," and everyone's like, "We're not fucking waiting for that." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah,
that was a really fun experience, though.
Yeah, I think I played it wrong. Where I don't think you have to keep making checks once you break the field. So, like, I thought it read as every turn you have to remake the check if you want to lie. And I think technically it's just once you break it, you're free, but you still know that they can lie now. I think is actually how it works. Unless they leave and re-enter, I think then it refreshes. But
I'll have to read it again.
I hope that's not the case, because then, of course, you're just going to, like, take them out and take them in. So... it's just something that didn't come up, and it's like, oh, well, dang. Because I'm bad about that. Like, I wish I actually looked at your guys' skills more often, because a lot of times it's like, I do this. Like, what was it? Cole's like, I fly. It's like, didn't know you could do that. Like, it worked out and it was cool, but it's like, dang.
Which time?
When you're in the flooded cave, and he's like flying with
whoever,
Darren on his back.
Something.
Yeah, I think he had a scroll or something, or he just has like a once a day kind of power.
Oh, I think I just felt like he gave it to other people because I remember we all did it, and when I did it, I had a problem with Anthros because he couldn't fucking see, and he had been seen with the torch.
Oh no, that's when you went underwater in our other campaign, Cult of the Dragon Queen. There's like a buried shaft that went under a swamp.
What are you talking about?
This was when you were not that flood one, when you were fighting the necromancer, and the water was pouring in. Where you got your drift globe.
When was Cole flying?
At the very end, because Darren got all, like, wasn't surviving. I think it was Darren. He had, like, 1 HP and remembered the water was
he wasn't flying, he was jumping.
No, but it was a fly spell. That's how he was able to do it.
I didn't know he had.
But he was, like, soaring while he was jumping.
Wait, but he's a barbarian. No.
But he's a barbarian whose race is, like, air genie.
No, that's
why I think it comes from.
But he shocks things.
I don't think you necessarily have to pick one exact element. You can like take a mix. This is very in-depth into our campaign, which is why I have all the recordings on my Twitch and my YouTube. I haven't made them public on my YouTube yet, but they're on my Twitch. Just so it's like, it's there. I like having a record. But yeah. I feel like we need to have that one big session of D&D, just to like, not D&D, but like D&D recollection, just to get it all out. And then we can go back and look. Like, I feel like it would be fun to go back and like watch like certain sessions. And if I'm ever feeling bold, I would love to actually download them and edit them if I can. I think that might be my biggest regret is if I don't record them. I don't know if I can get them back off of YouTube or Twitch if they're like 4 hours long. Which is too bad, because it would be kind of cool to have like a nice edited like a reel. Or even just like I'm still trying to find a way to do highlights without a huge pain, because I feel like that's what happens a lot of times where I want to be like, here's something I want to be able to come back and remember is this moment. Anthos grabs Brolof's leg. That's a moment. And I want to have that, but I don't want to have to sort through 4 hours of footage to find it. Not that we were recording then. Or a good example is when you're flying over the zombies in that one fight and they can't get you, so you're like, I take a nap for 30 minutes to get my spells back, and then I blow them up. It's like, it's a funny moment. Yeah. So
like everyone's like just like laying back like I'm in a hammock or something.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons I want to draw is like, it'd be cool to be able to draw a scene like that. Like, this is this scene. Particularly, like, I always liked back when we had like that journal where we'd like record stuff each session. Each session we'd do like a summary. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should do that if ever I can draw. I wanted to do like originally you have like you write a page, draw a picture. Write a page, draw a picture. So when you have those moments, it's like, yeah, remember this? Even if it's like a dumb picture, it'd be especially funny if it's in character, like low intelligence character draws this like really terrible stick figure. It'd be funny. It'd be funny. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do it, just because like it seems like a cool skill to have. Just sit down and it's like, I'm gonna draw that. So D&D's fun. Like I said, it just feels like there's never gonna be enough time or enough coordination to do it as much as I'd like.
It's a lot of fun, but it's so stressful for me.
It's stressful. It's stressful for me as a DM.
Yeah.
You guys are getting like thrown out of town right now.
Don't know that.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you are, but like no one likes you. Not no one. I play like you did a bad thing, and you don't know how it's gonna resolve yet. I'm not gonna say if you're.
What's
thrown
the
out
bad thing? We don't know.
What do you mean?
We don't know what's bad yet. We're right now working with the law enforcement.
Kind of. I can set this up easy. It's basically Hot Fuzz or all the people who run the town have an evil cult thing going on, and you broke up the cult. That's the situation you're in.
I didn't think it was that widespread, though.
Well, I don't know yet either. We'll see. I'm not saying we haven't made a decision yet. I'm just saying, like, that's the state where it seemed like you're in, where you were between, look, we need to convince this sheriff, otherwise it's going to be bad. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, that's where, like, we need to make sure he knows that the bad things aren't our fault.
But it's like so stressful. Also, interrogations are stressful. Like, whenever you interrogate someone, it's just like,
Why?
Because it's like it's so hard to get that to come out well. To not, like, I don't want it to be just a dice roll where it's like roll intimidation. Okay, you don't get any info because you failed. Move on. I don't want it to be that. I want to have like conversation.
Yeah.
But then it's also like, how much is too much? How much is me just being like, this minion says huge plot dump? Like, I don't want it to be that either. It's always fun when you guys reach a conclusion yourselves instead of being like, he did it, he's over there, go kill him. Like, yeah. It's tough. It's tough to find like a middle ground.
So when we did the Zone of Truth thing, that was kind of hard.
That one wasn't too bad.
I felt like that was easy because like it was him like lying and not lying.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting.
Well, also like that NPC you thought you found, it's like he's just like a mercenary and you kind of like killed his boss. It's like, well, I'm just gonna leave. So what do you want to know? I've pictured that character as very much as like, oh, I've been through this before.
Yeah,
I've been hired by plenty of cults. They get smacked by adventures. What do you want to know? That's how I picture his character kind of been. So, but definitely, like, this is, as a DM, I do notice, like, there's sometimes I'll throw out a character and it's like, it's this. And then you can very easily see them, like, the more I speak as them, they very much shift into a different personality and become more defined with what they are. Like, Leosin became a whole thing, and that was just a gimmick at one point. Or, like, God, there's another NPC was like that. Oh, Toblerone, yeah. Toblerone's just an innkeeper, and then I think we all just kind of kept thinking his name looked like Toblerone.
I think
and it's just like
Bobo was very much...
Pobo also helped.
Or Pobo did no. What did they call... Who's that guy who played as... What would we call him?
Doug the Bard?
I meant like his actual...
Taylor? The player's name?
Or he had like a weird nickname.
Boris.
Yes. Him. I think it was mainly him. Him and I think Walker. Calling him Toblerone. And then, well, I think the bigger part was not just the fact that it was Toblerone. I think it was Toblerone and Pobo. Because you had a decision just to make a big, fat, shirtless guy being like...
The only reason I did that is because I was like went into like their little image gallery. I was like, man, and I saw that. It's like, well, clearly he would be the dancer at this bar, and it just happened. All the best D&D decisions are always the last second. Like, we have one of my favorite NPCs we ever had. It's like this dumb NPC from Court of the Dragon Queen who's just purely there to like give you exposition.
We're talking about
Leosin. He's like, they don't give you anything on that character. And literally the last second when you come up on him, it's like you go into a church, like, well, I guess he would be there. They didn't say where he would be before the attack. So I guess he'd be there. And I'm about to say his lines like, you know what would be funny? Is if this guy just talked really loudly. And he just... Leosin was like a sun burning bright as an NPC where he's just like... he's memorable.
And then like everyone like being annoyed with him.
It was
or
literally
liking
the
him
last
for some
second where he
reason.
just like writes himself.
Yeah.
Like there's so many like little nuances. He's coming back, and I don't know if you know Morn.
Spoiler!
Morn encountered him and learned some stuff that I think is amazing. When Morn went to Neverwinter, you weren't around.
Oh, was that one of the one-off sessions?
Yeah, I think it was like we played after or before or something, because it was just Morn, and he was going to go do some stuff in Neverwinter. And we were supposed to do it with Lyle, but we never got around to it, because Lyle also went there to meet people.
Speaking of which, where the fuck was Cole?
Well, the idea was like a couple people were going to go to Neverwinter to look for stuff, because you were all stopping there, and we were going to do...
Well, Anders went there too. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you never
We just never got around to it, though, and we ended up just going...
Well, I was never even told that we were doing that. I had no idea about that.
Well, I think that was before we brought Anthros in. You were still Karnath at that point.
Yeah, but like I didn't know we were playing. Like I didn't know you were doing sessions of your characters in Neverwinter. I just said like, oh, they went to Neverwinter. I'm like,
Well, it really
oh,
was just for
okay.
Morn, Walker's character, because he had stuff, and then Lyle's was also a little relevant because he had that stuff with Halia, who also was a huge character. There's nothing about pigeons. Really?
There's not?
There's not a single thing.
What?
But it's genius.
Why are they a thing then?
It's awesome.
What like?
There's a lot of things.
What was the step that you're like? She's gonna have these delivery magical pigeons.
I don't remember where I got the pigeons from. There was like, it just like, I don't know. I thought it was entertaining. I think I guess I picture it where she started out as this person who was always at this exchange, and she kind of ran it. So I thought, oh, maybe she has a lot of messenger pigeons. And then it just kind of evolved from there.
So where they're just like sentient and like fucking type things with their feet.
I love that. It's this image of this like little... It's like while she's gone, they're running the business. So it's like I have this idea where they put one of the pigeons in like a hammock,
Yeah,
and it would just stamp its feet in the
sling,
ink, and then
yeah.
like to type stuff out. Yeah, and then she brought in like the silver armadillos who are like sketchy. Like, you're not real, are you? It's like I don't know.
Well, not just the silver armadillos to combat the red brand that
Yes.
were obviously actors.
Well, the thing is, like, I like Phandalin because there was a lot of cool stuff there. It just felt like, and I'd like that to be, like, I like those characters to kind of grow with you, but maybe just not around the town itself.
Well, my thing is we made that apothecary essentially. That's like really cool. It's like, oh yeah, we can get these things. Like, but if we never really go back there, it doesn't really help us.
Yeah. I was talking to Walker about ways to do that. Like I said, I'd love for you to get out of Phandalin. And if you didn't buy a manor, the easy thing would be like, hey, build like your own estate somewhere in the countryside, and then invite them there, like make a town, essentially. And that's where you could say like, okay, we can't resurrect on the fly, maybe, but maybe you have like insurance. Like we have one.
This to me,
Like,
this sounds
right
like
there.
the Assassin's Creed system of like building up
Yeah, something like that.
those
Like
places, and like they started, I think, in Brotherhood,
there's some really
or
good.
was it 2?
No, I guess it wasn't 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get the introduction right after that one character comes in and says, "It's me, Mario,
Yeah.
your uncle." It's me, your Mario, your uncle, or whatever. It's really weird.
It's me and Mario, your uncle. Because they're Italian too.
Yeah.
So.
So, but yeah, something like that, because that also gives you more to spend your money on that like matters. Because you're like, yeah, maybe it's worth like hiring a standing militia, but then that's something you got to pay for. But then, yeah, you can be like, hey, there's a dragon over there. Let's go deal with it. Let's bring 100 people. You have that option if you want to spend all your money. So, and I like the idea of doing that. And then also that way you can kind of collect NPCs you personally attach to and then would want to see continue in the story. But then you can drop like the veteran shield dude in Phandalin that no one really cares about to talk to.
See, here's the problem I have with Anthros, because I really want to get plate mail for Anthros, right? Mm-hmm. That's 1,500 gold. And Anthros is also a paladin. He's a good paladin, which means he's not going to be particularly stingy with the money, right? And then you've got characters like Lyle and what was his warlock's name?
Danikos.
And Danikos that are very much, I'm just going to pocket like over half the money for myself and give this like the crumbs to everyone else. And it's like my character wouldn't, but it's like I don't know. It's like it's annoying. Like I getting less money, but also being more not calling out like Cole on his bullshit.
Well, plate armor is like a big deal. It literally makes you into like a tank.
Yeah.
That plus a shield, yeah.
Well,
It's
now
a big step.
I think it only really ups me by 1 armor class from my current armor.
That's still pretty significant.
But that's-
Every
yeah,
point is
still- yeah.
pretty big. So it's like a big step you would take is when you get plate mail.
Yeah.
It's like constantly the thing you're like looking for all the time. One day. You have a magical breastplate though, don't you?
I'm not wearing one.
I thought who got that one?
Karna.
Ah, that's where it went. Okay.
Because we got that while it was Karna.
Makes sense. I don't know, maybe it's in his future.
Yeah,
Anthros can figure it out.
maybe Anthros and Karna fused together and all their resources are just pooled.
Maybe. Maybe. No, he needs that armor to go go deal with his demon patron, right?
Not a demon or a fiend. She's an archfey. And her thing is he needs to kill a fiend for revenge.
There's a lot of stories that are unresolved that I like to deal with. A lot of personal stories in particular. One of which I always had this idea, and we never sat down and did it, but I like this idea that one of the things. So your patron is like from the Fae, which is like basically fairies and stuff.
Yeah.
There's like the evil realm and the good realm, and then the main deities in the middle. And as part of like the Fae, one thing they have is like different time transitions. And I like this idea where like Karnath's actually super old, but he ended up there one day, met this person, whatever. But when he came back, he didn't realize it was like 500 years later or something.
So what you're trying to say is he's not old, but he's been temporally displaced.
Yes, but it could be more than that. I really like the idea of Karnath at his base is like a caveman that got unfrozen, but then also now has magical powers. So like he can still like, yeah, I can do fireball, I can do shatter, but also Karnath, he'll stab a dude with a spear.
Well, because I started out with the spear.
Yeah, so that's always like a fun idea. I feel like that'd be kind of entertaining. But then that would explain like, oh, I understand magic, but I don't really know the local area because no one lived here when I was here last. I just feel like that would be kind of a fun story. And then he's like trying to track down this really old demon and stuff, and it'd be just very natural and stuff to write a story around.
Also, correction, I don't have fireball.
Not yet.
I don't know.
If you continued it, you probably could have eventually. I assume it's a sorcerer spell, but it might be mage.
And I definitely know it's wizard, or whichever Walker was playing as at the end of last campaign.
I think he was a wild magic sorcerer.
Yeah,
I think
wild magic surge.
that's another thing that's stressful as a DM. I don't like additional mechanics that come out of nowhere and then I have to manage. That's difficult. I got enough to manage as is.
Like all of a sudden, like, oh, gotta drop a fireball.
Yeah. That was like that's a perfect encounter where I want to be like the party encounters fireball for the first time. Because I don't know if I talked about this on a podcast, but like there are certain moments of playing D&D that only happen once, and it's a big deal when they happen.
Yeah,
and I feel like that was it when the first time ever fireball showed up
for me and for Alex specifically, because I'm pretty sure Cole and Walker have already experienced that.
But yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of I don't know if they experienced it, but they know of it. It's like the same thing if like you fought a troll. Do you know what the gimmick is?
They regen.
Yeah. How do you stop it?
You freeze them or burn them.
Maybe. I don't know. But it used to be a big deal, though, is you would encounter a troll and it's your level. But if you don't know how to do the thing, you just can't beat it.
Or like the Flaming Skull, about like perma-killing it.
Yeah. And that was going to be an issue. There's a lot of things in that module that are like not balanced like properly. It's like go left, fight like the level 6 boss, go right, and there's this monstrosity that can wipe you in one shot. But I wish I recorded. I don't think I got that on video when I told you it did like, how much damage was it?
Like 48.
Yeah, I want to say it was like really high. It's like, and the most health most people had is like 52 or something. And you're like, what?
Well, I saved and still took like 25 damage.
But yeah, it's like it's a very classic D&D mode. It's like the first time you see it, and then you respect the spell.
Yeah,
you're like that's when you're like, okay, now I understand why you don't split the party, kind of thing. Like you say, like or like the first time we had like a character death due to basically negligence, when Gigi's character died, just
I
because
wasn't there
like
for
people
that,
just
too.
got too far away. It's like, oh, he's 300 feet that way and he's bleeding out. Nothing we can do. Stuff like that's like a first big moment, I feel like. And there's some more of those that I'd like to be able to get through.
What was his reaction when he died?
I don't think he was that worried about it too much.
I actually kind of did like the new character he was playing as. I liked him
The orc?
playing. I liked him playing as the dumb guy.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of characters I would love to see to their fruition, like Anthros. I feel has a lot of good stuff. Like I'd really love to go to see Anthros's past. Like he's one of the only ones that, besides more, that has like an actual tie into more of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it just unfortunately never comes up. It's never relevant because we're always doing our own modules. And there's all these things I would love to do for D&D, but they take time, and that's annoying. Like, yeah, it'd be great because if we play D&D for 10 hours a day, yeah, we could do all the stuff, but we can't. Although I'm hopefully to work on some stuff to make stuff go smoother and faster. Just to cram more stuff in, take out some more of the minutia.
D&D.
D&D. Super fun. Super fun. We just need to play more. And I really want to get... See, this is the thing. It's like I never seem to have time to work on the drawing stuff. But then here I'm playing this like, man, I really wish I could draw the flame skull moment. That's a cool moment. Or I wish I could draw just like, this is what I think Anthros looks like.
Probably gonna have to change my schedule too after D&D school starts.
I think you should retcon and make Anthros green.
Why?
Because everyone thinks Anthros is basically a bronze dragon man, but you used a Lego Greedo figure for like 2 years. So everyone thinks you're green.
Well,
Everyone pictures you as green.
yeah, I know. And everybody, like, the thing that's annoying is, like, I wanted to find a Bosk head, which, I don't know if you know Bosk from Star Wars, is, like, he's kind of like one of those iconic things you see once, and, like, but then you never see it again, but everyone remembers that one. He was one of the bounty hunters. He's like a reptile guy. Mm-hmm. So, like, that head would be perfect. I couldn't fucking find it, though. But that one's a lighter green, so you can kind of see that being copperish. Because I think his skin is actually more of a copper color in the movie. Mm-hmm. But that's neither here nor there. And annoying me, I couldn't fucking find that.
Yeah. But it's why I want to draw, because, like, if we could do character portraits, like, this is what they actually look like, then I feel like we don't have those issues where it's like, I'm pretty sure things like hair color are only the way they are because that's the picture we found.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's that. So, and I wish that wasn't the case. Or like some stuff like Anthro still has his cape, which is something I feel like as a DM, I really like the cape.
Yeah.
I don't think we've actually done anything with it because that's more of Horror of the Dragon Queen, which is still happening. Yeah. But yeah, that's something you don't see in the token art. Like I want it to be like one of the things that like defines it. It's really neat, but it just doesn't come up. Or like Morn's sword's neat, but he just has like a basic longsword in his picture. Or it's easy to forget that he's supposed to be kind of like constantly messed up, like scarred, and like things aren't properly healed because of his character is the way it is. But you don't see that because his character is just like a dude with like normal skin and like a tan. So I want to have time to get to that level, but it's just going to take hours and hours. And it's so hard to find time to like invest in that because it's also something you can't rush. It's like, I'm going to do a drawing today. It's going to take an hour. And I did one, only like 1,200 to go. So,
or what's the worst is like you do a drawing and you just like, fuck this. And like, I'm not using this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst.
I think that's fine because there's a quote I heard where it's like the best project you're ever going to make is always your next one, you know, because you always learn so much on your current one. Like even if like I edit the podcast, it's always like next podcast, I'm going to do this and it's going to be better. But then when I'm like 80% of the way through like this one, I'm like, man, I kind of want to start on the next one and phone this one in because now I know how to fix all these problems. I feel like the same with drawing. Where it's like even with like the little rabbit drawing I did, it's just like, good enough. Just shade in the rest really easily. So I can move on to the next one. Because at a certain point, it's like, I got the experience I wanted from it. Completing it all doesn't matter as much. So, yeah. I really want to do stuff, and I was hoping to even, like... Because the other reason it'd be fun to draw is, like, if I could draw, like, even, like, a consistent, like, stylized thing, that would really open up, like, the thumbnails for the podcast for so many things. Whereas, like I said, I was talking to you about, I really want to do a Age of Empires 2 parody for a thumbnail. And I would like to do that live action like photo, but then we actually need props. Yeah. But if I could just draw it, and either do characterized faces or just put ourselves in this drawing, it's way easier to do like those one-off crazy things, or things that feel a bit more natural but still original artwork.
Oh, I guess like, did you say like if you draw around, it's like you also like texturize like the face and stuff so it like looks more consistent with the outside stuff. So like maybe like add a little bit of drawing over the pre-existing things to make it, I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff I want to do because it just like it completely opens it up, and I can do a bunch of fun stuff with that. But I just need time and money, and then I'll be good.
But then more time.
And more time. Lots and lots of time.
Maybe a little more money. Then more time again.
Yes. Because, it's always like, I'm going to do so much, and then it's like 3 hours go by. It's like, man, this doesn't feel like it was 3 hours of work. Like I said, like, for a whole hour, I worked on it, and then what did I produce is this mediocre drawing of this rabbit wearing a crown. I asked Javen to give me a subject, and she sent me a rabbit not info, what am I talking about? Instagram photo that she follows of this rabbit wearing a crown, so I drew that. It's pretty good. So, but I don't know. I just need time. And that's always something I lament. It's like, just need time. But I think it's coming along. Like, think about like back when we were doing Horror of the Dragon Queen. That was like the first time I started doing like this podcast stuff. And it would take me like 20 to 30 hours to make a podcast episode doing that same style. And now it's down to only like 8. And that's good. That's a pretty significant improvement. So
Progress.
Thing is, my aspirations grow faster than my projects skills.
So then you got to figure out which projects you really want to do.
Well, that's basically it, yeah. Because I think about like, if I didn't have D&D, that would open up a whole nother day to do stuff, for example, or vice versa. If I didn't want to say do the drawing, whether that's an extra hour, 3 days a week to go do D&D, or like if I didn't do the podcast, so much time. But I like the podcast. It's tough. I've been trying to like schedule stuff out very specifically so I can fit everything in. So I'm like, I could do an hour. Like I said, I can do an hour Monday, Wednesday, Friday on drawing. And then I can do 2 hours on website development on Monday. And then I can put in like this much time to just do chores. And that's been working out. This is going to get very specific into how I structure my life because this is what I talk about in the podcast.
Okay. It's a lot of stuff.
Lots of stuff and no time. Oh, I feel like that's like the most boring thing to talk about is just be like, I'm so busy, you won't even believe it. Like, I don't want to be that guy either. It's just, I lament it.
You want to be, but you are.
I think I'm just not good at stopping stuff. Like, it's always like, we're going to do a 30-minute podcast. And then I looked at it and it's like an hour and 5 minutes. Like, God damn it. But it's all like good stuff. So it's like, I'm not going to cut it.
Speaking of, what time are we at?
What time are we at? 54 minutes. 54. You don't know that joke.
I don't know that joke.
You should watch. There's
55?
No. There's a speed run of, I think, Final Fantasy 13-2, where they had like he was just doing a practice run to get those monsters, you collect in that game as your things. And there's one you like kind of need, and he wasn't getting it. So by like the 10th turn, it has like a 30% drop chance. And by the 10th turn, he like wasn't getting it. So like, well, I'm going to find this out. And it took him 54 tries until I got it. And it's like the record was not record, but the attempt was just a terrible time. And there became, I guess, a joke in the community because he was like screaming like, it took 54 times, 54. So if you go watch those speed runs at all, it's just them commenting, and you'll see the number of stars out of 5 I got was 54. And it's just it's a cute joke. So
it's a meme now.
Yeah, and it's fun to say 54. It's very relevant a lot of time, but
was it actually 54 minutes though when you said it?
Yeah, it actually was 54 minutes. That's why I thought of it. So otherwise, I don't know what else. I beat Kingdom Hearts 2. That's a good game. Better than 1. I'd say for sure. Mechanically better.
I would hope so. If it was not, that'd be really dumb.
Really dumb. I think you would enjoy Kingdom Hearts. I don't know why you have such a stigma against them.
I think it's just the Disney thing.
Do you not like Disney?
I like Disney things. but I just feel like there are so many things that would clash to just totally break it. Like Goofy, Donald Duck. That alone, to me, breaks it. I can't take anything seriously.
It's not a game you take seriously. I mean, there's parts you take seriously, but I will admit, Donald sucks. Donald really sucks. Well, like, there are some things, like, they have one world where it's like the Pirates of the Caribbean world, and I've said this, I think, before, where it's clear they like have to edit the cutscenes around a lot to like not actually be that violent, but they also want to show like the big memorable scenes from the movie. So you can tell they're like very precisely doing the camera angles when stuff happens, and it's like it did feel like a huge stretch to even put this in the Kingdom Hearts game. But then they would do like,
see, I don't understand that because the Pirates of the Caribbean movies were PG-13. They're not there's a lot of fighting, but there's only a little bit of blood. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's no like decapitation for the most part, unless they're like the ones that can't die from it. It's like, oh, he chops the guy's head off, and he's like, oh no, my head. And goes and picks up his head and puts it back on, something like that. So other than that, I don't know what you have to do.
It wasn't even that violent, but yeah, it felt like they must have been doing something to cut around, and I don't know if there was a certain reason. I don't know. But then they'll do like that, and that's so weird. And then they had like 2 worlds in there that actually blew my mind. Like, they have one where you go to like old Disney cartoons, like really old, like Steamboat Willie, and that was actually really cool because it just comes out of nowhere. And then they have another one where you're just like chilling in this dude's like study or whatever, and you're like learning about him. And then it's like, oh, we need to go to the scanner thing to go figure out more stuff. And I was like, Jamie, am I gonna have a Tron world right now? And she's like, yep. It's like, oh, this is awesome. And it was awesome. And it's like, it came out of nowhere because it was like a level in a level. I didn't expect it. And I was like, it was cool. But yeah, it's like they own Tron, so why not? It was pretty cool. So they do that, and it's like this weird juxtaposition where like this one really kind of sucked and it was awkward, and this one was awesome. Awesome. I think you should play it so then you could have like definite justified hate for things.
If they release it for Xbox, I'll do it.
Kingdom Hearts 3 you're getting then. They're releasing it November.
Only if I can play the first 2.
I have them like right over there.
For Xbox? No.
For PlayStation.
Okay. I don't have a PlayStation.
What about PC?
I do have a PC.
Would you play it if they had PC? I don't think they do.
Probably.
You could emulate it. Oh, you got yourself stuck in the corner. Because now you're stuck. It's like, you're like, oh, well, I have to set it. I said I would play if it's on PC. I could get out of it if I said my PC can't run it. But I already said the graphics suck, so it clearly it'd be easy to run.
Well, I was going to say, we got a pretty good computer recently.
Then use it. You could go play the Tron world on your computer. It's like super meta in a way.
Yeah.
Telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Emulators are funky.
They are funky.
Especially because, like, I remember when I emulated 7, or I used the emulator you gave me for 7.
For Final Fantasy 7, yes.
Yeah. And it was like, I was confused, like, why I was fucking up the prompts, because I knew, like, select was this one, this one, this one, this one. So, like, I figured out what buttons did what, but I didn't know what symbols they were.
Oh, yeah.
So, I assumed because select would be... Oh, that's another thing. So, Nier Automata, they actually do have the thing where you interact with things hitting B, and then jumping with A. But it's
awesome.
But it's weird because once you start the interface and like there are lists of stuff, you have to hit A to select and B to back out.
That's weird.
So it's like it hit B to like initiate, but then A to actually select past that, and B would be. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's weird. It's actually, I always thought it was interesting is what games, like, or old console games that you can emulate that actually run better with a keyboard. Because, like, they just map better having all those. Or any game that's a PC port, sometimes they're awesome and they go above and beyond. Like, the lazy PC port is just to say, like, WSAD is your moves, and then you might have something else. But ultimately, this is the A button on the Xbox, this is the B button, and then you're just mapping like that. But sometimes they're awesome, and they'll just have, do you want one button for an action? For every action, you can do it. Or not that, opposite. So like if you want this one very specific interaction to only be on this button, you can do that. It's not that this is the A button. It's, you can say, like if this is Final Fantasy 15, jump is spacebar, but then interact is like Y. Whereas if they did a bad port, you would have both have time. Because they just tie it to like the actual action instead of saying...
Oh, you mean they're doing that, you're not...
the developer.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's awesome when they do that, especially for some games. Like,
see, that makes sense to me now.
Yes. Sorry, it's hard to explain. But, like, I was surprised. I went recently, I think I played, like, I think it was, like, when I played Soul Reaver recently. It was that way. I was surprised. Like, they let you map everything, every little possible interaction out to a different key. Whereas if you play it on, like, a controller, this one button does everything. And normally if you play a bad PC port, it's like that, where they just make it basically map to the old scheme instead of reworking the scheme. But there's definitely some emulators stuff where it actually isn't that good on a controller, but it works really well on a mouse and keyboard. Like some of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 are like that, where because it's so menu driven, it's almost easier with a keyboard. But then you can play like a platformer, and it's like you're trying to like jump around as like Spyro, and you're like, how do I do this? That's very tough. Like, I remember I played Legend of Zelda, and I got stuck for a week because I was playing Ocarina of Time, and I had to point my hook shot at a target, but if I tapped down, the thing was positioned at such a point where I would aim too low. If I tap up, I would aim too high, because you could only go in those notches. And because it was in the water dungeon, there was only like one place you could stand to hook shot. It's like, I don't think I can play the game anymore because I just couldn't hit the target. It's like,
So how did you deal with that?
I found a workaround where I look straight up, cue target, and then that drags it continuously down. And I had to shoot it. So I was like, shoot.
Oh, you had to time it. So
Yeah.
like...
It was this weird mechanic because it was in the emulator. Yeah. But it took me like a week to come up with that. Because it was like, I don't know. And it was this weird mechanic that I just happened to be able to do it.
I'm sure that would be a major complaint for the emulator. Like people say, like, "Hey, it worked fine," but there's this one moment where it can be game breaking.
I'm sure there may have been a setting I could have done, especially like or like nowadays. I feel like most emulators are a lot better because they like develop stuff in parallel. So like someone will develop like a really good like a just GameCube controller adapter or something, and then someone will develop a really good emulator. And then the emulator goes away, new one comes in, but that GameCube driver is still just as good. So that you put that with a new emulator, and now it's twice as good. Vice versa, they get better and better. Or like if you really want to, there's a ton of stuff you can do with your emulator to get like super optimized stuff. Like I remember I had to go do all these awesome presets when I wanted to play Shadow of the Colossus, and I made it run really nice because I couldn't run most PS2 games, and I really wanted to play that one.
Are they making another Colossus game?
I doubt it. Didn't the one they made fail?
The
Last Warrior, whatever.
Last Guardian.
Last Guardian. Yes.
Well, I didn't think that was Shadow of the Colossus. I thought it was like people thought that's what it was going to be.
Well, I thought it was that studio. And I thought it was a similar. I guess it wouldn't be that similar, but a similar feel. It'd be like if Bloodborne just like tanked, would they make Dark Souls 4? Not the best example. But it's like they're not quite the same, but they're kind of the same. That's kind of the feel I got from it. I don't know. What if I want From Software to go back to like their old games, where it's just like mechs, completely unrelated to Dark Souls. It's like before Demon's Souls, they made like a mech fighter.
Oh,
yeah, it's completely unrelated. And now it's like you totally see them as making this type of game, and then it's like no, it's like Armored Core or something.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah, they made all these other really random games before that. And you don't associate it with this very specific style of game now.
Yeah.
So.
They basically created a new genre.
Yeah.
Games.
Souls-like is what I usually hear it described as.
I feel like it's overused, but it's a good term.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cuphead. It's like Souls for platformers. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, basically, I guess became to mean like fair difficulty is usually how I kind of see that. And By extension, the
but
atmosphere.
difficult. Like, emphasizing the difficult.
I always like the term people used for describing certain things after that, which was artificial difficulty. I really like that term when people use it to talk about games.
What do you mean?
Where it was they talked about the difference between, say, good difficulty in a game might be like, oh, I'm going to give this boss more attacks and more different ways to react to you. That adds depth to the encounter.
Okay.
Artificial difficulty is like, you have less health now, and they do double damage. Where it's like, is it technically harder? Yes, but it doesn't actually necessarily add more depth.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily clear cut, because sometimes that artificial depth can bring out greater depth elsewhere in the game. So, like, for example, I would give is like Dead Rising, I think, does that, where the bosses are just kind of arbitrarily hard. But that makes, like, you having to grab whatever weapon you can find, which is a big part of the game, come out. Whereas if they were easy, you would just always use the katana or something. Or it makes you have to, like, improvise and interact with other parts of the game. Or even like I was talking about, like, with Prey, it's annoying to fight some of the enemies, but then that does force you to do stuff like sneak or set up traps or just get really creative with your situations because you have to, even if it is, like, technically artificial and annoying how they make that hard. So it's not always bad, but I thought it was a really interesting discussion that I always was aware of, but it wasn't until I heard those terms that really framed that structure and argument in my mind. So I found that really fascinating, and then it kind of gave me an idea to talk about different things. Like, oh, I like Dark Souls because it's difficult, but it's fair, and seeing, like, what things I like in other games. And like I said, like, you see it everywhere. Like Destiny does it, where it's the opposite, where it's like, this enemy just does a lot of damage, and they're a bullet sponge. Like, that's an artificial difficulty, and you know it's bad, and it feels bad when you play it.
Yeah.
But then when they put in something like really awesome, like the raid, it's like, oh, this is good difficulty. It's cool, awesome. So, and it's just like, it felt like a tool in my toolbox to help describe games. That it's awesome. I really want to go play Dark Souls again. I watched a video where someone played not played, but like they walked through the different areas of Dark Souls 1 on the remaster, and they just turned the brightness all the way up for all the cutscenes and just areas, and it was really cool. So you could see every little detail.
Like the stuff you might not be able to see otherwise, or
yeah. Or like they'd free cammed at different points, so you could just see, like, you probably don't ever actually see this. Or like a good one is like cutscenes, just from different perspectives. That kind of stuff is cool. Plus, I want to go play Dark Souls 3 again once all the DLC's out. I think it might be. Just because I've only played it through once, and I have memories of Dark Souls 3, but I don't really know it nearly on the same level as I know 1 and 2. Like, I played a lot of 1 because it's awesome. And then I played a lot of PvP in 2. Like, I think Dark Souls... I love Dark Souls, like, new game system, particularly Dark Souls 1. And I felt like, but then 2 had such a great PvP. I don't know, I loved, like, making new characters in that setting and, like, getting up to gear. It was, like, surprisingly, like, just an awesome RPG mechanic that I feel like a lot of RPGs just didn't come on the same level for.
New game in Nier Automata is really interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what everyone talks about. Like, you need to beat it a couple times. Have you already?
I've beaten it twice. I think there are 3 unique ones.
Okay.
Like, the first one and the second one are very similar, but from different perspectives. Like, so the first one you play as 2B. She's a chick.
Okay.
And she's got, like, this, like, hacker companion that goes around with him. In the second playthrough, you play as him.
Okay.
And, like, there's slight ability changes. Like, I think, like, specifically, she's technically supposed to be, like, a combat mouse, so she, like, uses 2 weapons at once. Mm-hmm. And, like, switches between them. Whereas the other guy, but she can't hack. The other guy, he only uses 1 weapon at a time, but he can hack things. But, like, you can hack mid-battle. So it's like, oh, by the way, hacking is interesting in that game. Like, depending, it's either really cool or it's really stupid. I feel like you don't know if, I feel like it's hard to straddle the line. Like, either you really like it because, like, it's interesting, or it's really, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Like, for the concept. But, like, the thing is, you can scan them so that they'll, like, explode and do things. But if you can hack them without them fighting you, like, before they become hostile, you can do either make them detonate, you could subjugate them, which means they become, like, friendly to you, or you can possess their body. Yeah. And then you can, but it's great because then you can chain hack them. Because you can go around as them and they want to attack you, and then you can, like, just continually hack them to, because they're not hostile, and then possess. But every time you possess a new one, the one you were in explodes, and you can have up to, like, 3 subjugated ones. So yourself, and then 3 more.
That's cool. And I think it's going to be the next game I play after Prey.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot of... Yeah.
you got to go beat Dead Space, though. You're like halfway through, and it's not even that long of a game.
Dead Space 2.
Dead Space 2. Because Dead Space 3 is for free, and we got to play co-op. Because it's not spooky here.
2... I got one of them for... one. I might have gotten all 3 for free. No, I think I bought 1. But I had 2 for free.
That makes sense. I think because that's why I played 2 was because it was free.
Okay.
And then 3 is free now, so I assume if you bought any, it was probably because you've got 2 and you bought 1, which I'm sure was like $6. I just need more time because there's a lot of games I want to play. Like I still want to go play another playthrough of Final Fantasy 15. I haven't got around to it.
I still have to do a lot of shit in 15, like episode Ignis and stuff like that, and some like I still need to fight. Have you fought the mountain yet?
Yeah.
So I haven't done that.
If you want to, you can cheese it. You can kill it with a ring.
Really?
Yeah, if you need to, you can do that.
Just hold it for how long?
It's like 6 minutes,
Damn.
but it's still faster than doing it normally. Yeah.
Does it shrivel up all weird?
No, because it has unique dying animation, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the specifics, but I think it has something like that.
I will say the shriveling part is kind of disconcerting.
Yeah.
I love the enemies.
I think the reason they added the ring thing is because it gives like really good loot, and it's something you want to farm, but if you kill it normally, it's just ridiculously long and not worth it. So, there's a lot of stuff in that game, though, that are like that. So I think they apparently really buffed the ring at some point. And you can now cheese a lot of stuff with the ring and kill way more. So you just gotta be like, shh, and just slowly it dies. And you warp to another rock, and then you start over again.
Well, you start over because it reverts a little bit. It doesn't revert all at once.
Well, yeah, but it also drains your mana, so you have to go warp to get it back.
Oh,
and you start it again, and you just kind of slowly will it down. And it doesn't even hit you that badly. Like it will hit you, but just like heal. And magic's so broken in that game. Like I don't understand what they were doing with it. Especially like, if you know what you're doing. Like I played a little bit of it starting a new game, and you can just instantly start hitting really high numbers. It's awesome. Sheep's milk. That's the secret.
Sheep's milk.
Sheep's milk gives you like you're gonna be like level 2, and it'll be like 150 potency dual cast. And that's powerful.
What's the most you can get up to?
Quadcast?
Quadcast?
Yeah, quadcast.
I don't know if it's quad or pent.
Maybe pent. I haven't seen it. There's some like really high stuff you can do with those weird stuff. Like I know if you when you first do the quest, the hunter mark, whatever for the mountain, it gives you an item that lets you break damage totals.
Limb break.
Yeah, on magic, and for example, like that just like goes crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was another item like that let you have like ×5. I don't know what you would use it on, other than like the mountain or like certain enemies. Basically, that one enemy in the dungeon, Castlemark dungeon, or something. There's not that many tough enemies in the game unless you get the Royal Edition. And then they have a bunch of cool bosses.
I got school starting in like 13 days.
Yeah, and you got Kingdom Hearts to play, and dang. There's so many good games. I mean, I can actually make a point where it's like, I go in and say, like, what do I need to beat in this game to be done? Because there's also some stuff, like, I'd like to go do more stuff in Dead Space 2, but I also recognize I'd rather play other new games in my backlog more than this. Then I feel bad, because I feel like that's the kind of game I'd like to play twice. I feel like I want to play most of my games more than once now, to get more out of them. I feel like there's too many games where I just sit down, beat it once, and then I just do the end game, and never go back and play, like, the whole stuff. And I feel like I would enjoy it more if it was more about the route from A to B instead of just end game, end game, end game. I don't know. I wish more games had New Game Plus for that reason. Or just weren't like full of minutia and bullshit like Fallout. That was annoying. Fallout 4 was kind of annoying with that stuff.
I had fun, but I had problems.
Yeah. Are you gonna get Fallout 76? It comes out this year.
Fallout 76? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't understand. I haven't looked into it at all.
It's co-op.
Is it co-op or is it like entirely like MMO kind of thing? Not like full on MMO, but like...
I think it's like a world that highly encourages you. I think it feels more. I think it's going to be more like Borderlands.
Okay.
That type of thing.
I feel like there's a term for that, but I don't know what. Like, I always felt like Dark Souls has certain things that are kind of MMOE, but it's definitely not. But it always felt like
Dark Souls?
Yeah. Like, if you actually play it, because like, you go between other people's worlds so much, but it's not like a match made, like, oh, I'm going to go into a match. Like, they have that.
Yeah.
But it really is a little bit more like, it feels like there's communities and like there's events that go on and like certain things at certain times. It doesn't feel intentional, but it had that feel to it. I don't know how to describe it. Or like with Borderlands, you could play that game as in you would constantly hop in and out of people's games. But it was something more than just playing co-op Halo. Like, that's entirely a co-op thing here. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know what the term is. Like, there's just something else that I don't know how to describe. Like this weird kind of like seamless co-op where you just kind of go flow in and out of it kind of thing. And I guess that's what I was thinking of it, where like you're not always online, but sometimes you hop on and fight someone else or something.
I don't know.
I hope they let you do VATS and like don't slow down whatsoever. So you can just be like, VATS, get a sandwich.
Wait, what?
And then you have to like, the other person's like slowly running at you and they're just like, dang, he VATS'd me.
And like you're just waiting for it. Or like if you VATS, is everyone VAT at the same time? So like, oh shit.
It's like a stand.
Like, oh fuck, what am I VATing?
Yeah. It could be like a multiplayer super hot. Have like a Mexican standoff. That would be actually really interesting.
Because isn't that the game where it's like the game moves as fast as you're moving?
Yeah.
So if you're like not moving at all, the game stops.
Yes.
And then
but make that all multiplayer and give people like turns to like do like one action and like guns and stuff. You're like, so you're trying to like perfectly position yourself to dodge all the bullets and still like get someone else. I don't know, it seems like really interesting. And then at the end, play it all back in real time. And it just looks like it seems like it'd be a great VR game for that reason.
Huh.
Like it'd be a weird mix of like Twister and like a combat strategy where you're like, okay, I need to hold my leg up in the air like this so I don't get shot for so long, and then I can attack him or something.
How would you do this? Like you would have to have like a full body.
That could be part of it. That could be part. You have to literally wear them out. Like that could be a strategy in the game where it's like, oh, he's doing like a headstand or something crazy. So I need to purposely drag this out to like wear him down. That could be a big point.
You mean if it's versus?
Yeah, I'm saying it's 4-player free for all.
Okay.
That's the way I'm thinking of this.
Except that I don't think that's how it is in Fallout 76, but
not in Fallout 76. I'm just talking about this theoretical super hot multiplayer. I've never played it. I just always heard good things. I think I actually have it downloaded.
Multiplayer?
No, but it seems like it'd be cool if it was.
Okay.
That's what I was saying. I don't know.
You lost me somewhere. I don't know what happened.
I'll tell you what I lost. The ending of this podcast.
What time is it?
It's like 10 minutes later.
What do you tell me?
Since you last asked, when I told like the 54 jokes, so we got to end this so I can edit this.
Hour and 4 minutes?
At least. It's a while.
Well, that means it's only probably about an hour because of the time before.
Yeah, but it's going to take forever to edit it. That's the issue.
Plus all the time you're going to edit out. Like, what time are we at? I don't
Plus
know.
This time right now where we're just like talking at the camera and it keeps rolling. There's that too. And it always gets to like when I get to the end of my timeline and I get to this point where I like talk to myself in the future about how much I'm going to hate it. And I'm like, yeah, I am hating it right now. So that's what I'm doing to the camera, but I don't want to look at it because I know I'll hate myself for it. So anyway, this is Digression Bar 24. I'm Grant.
I'm Andrew.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back again in 2 weeks.
Maybe.
Bye, Grant.